I like to use this metaphor of plunging into a swimming pool without knowing if there's water or if there's no water, plunging into a culture. I like this concept because, and I always tell the people that travel with us to let's plunge into it, let it get into, because it has to be liquid. It has to be, like something that like smooth.
All right. Welcome to yet another installment of Behind Greatness by Inspire. Luciano here is your host. We're joined by another guest from across the ocean, living in San Sebastian, and his name is Joan Riera. Joan, welcome.
Grazie mille.
Joan, I'm not going to introduce you, but I'm going to ask you if you can introduce yourself in 10 seconds. What would you say?
I'm originally from Barcelona. I'm Catalan, a proud Catalan, but now I live in northern Spain, in San Sebastian, as you mentioned. I'm an anthropologist and sociologist, and I dedicate my life to investigation to recover decaying traditions around the world, mainly in Africa and South America. And I combine these studies with travel. I have a travel company called Last Places.
Wow, because I thought I heard trouble and not travel, and I still believe trouble.
Well, they're troubling troubles, yes, because we're focused in places where there's no tourists. That's a challenge, and finding places that are still raw and that you still have a feeling that anything can happen. No, I mean that's the ecosystem we like to move in. Yeah.
Let's set the stage a little bit because I want to go. I want to go into one of your recent trips and learn about the experiences there, or maybe one of your key experiences there. But before that, you grew up in Catalonia with your grandmother, and you said the first time we ever spoke, you said you adapted her gaze on the world. What was her gaze?
Well, I mean, my grandmother was like a very primitive person. No? She was born in a farmhouse in the hills with no connection with the big town and the cities. No, she grew up in nature, no, surrounded by her family and the animals. And then after the civil war in Spain in the late 30s, she moved to Barcelona to work as a maid. So it was her first connection with the outside world. But I mean, her origin was marked by this wild origin, no? And when I grew up with her, she told me about that world, no? And I was very curious, no, to know how was life in Catalonia in Spain, like 60, 70 years ago, and that fascinated me, no. I mean, all the stories, they were scary from one point of view, but also very inspiring and emotional. No, it was, and I've always looked for that. And that's why I always mention my grandmother, because probably she influenced me a lot. And I've been always looking for this lost world, no, this when things were real.
Yeah, you said, of course, I'm just repeating some of the words right now, but you said she was connected with nature, pruning trees and living by the full moon.
Yeah, I mean they were peasants, so they depended on the on the weather, no, and on the rain and on the cycles of the moon to plant, to prune trees. That's magical, and that's something we've lost connection with in the Western world, no, in the post-industrial world. So this mystic world of following what you cannot see, but what you feel, has always attracted me, and I've managed to find it in places that are still far away, in these last places of the world. That's why I titled my company Last Places. Yeah.
I don't want to interpret it, so I want to ask you what you mean by it. When you said you want to learn about places where people are following what they feel, not what they see.
I mean, this is a complex thing because it's more, it's abstract. No, it's something that happens also when grows up, no, and evolves. No, you leave aside a bit rationality and what you've learned and all methods, and then you leave more your skin talk to you, and what you feel, no, about everything that surrounds you, that you see and you don't see, no. uh, when my grandmother used to tell me the stories, I some of them I didn't understand them. No, I just heard, and as I have mentioned, some things, some concepts were a bit scary. No, these deep human connections, this getting lost in the forest. No, but then I've understood all these stories after traveling, no, and living with these communities that are like my grandmother was connected to the earth, no, and depending on the earth, it's not a hippie connection, no, of rationalized relationships, humans with nature. It's something that it's survival. That's why. And when I have explored remote areas, mountains, rivers, and jungles, and you've met people that still live there, and because of isolation or because they have decided to, I've understood more of that world that my grandmother was telling me about, and then I've let myself loose, no, and no, I went as an investigator, as someone to use those people and to use that place and to try to understand it from a scientific, no, from a Western point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Then I just let it flow. I just let it feel, no, and it's a process. I let my hair grow long, my beard, and it's been a natural process of reconnection.
I think I got this right in my notes. The first African place you ever stayed in was Cameroon, and you said that it reminded you of rural Catalonia when growing up with your grandmother. And you said there were three things you connected with: animals, fire chats, and laughter.
Yes, of course. I mean, I went to Cameroon when I was 10 years old. My father moved there for a period of time. It was my first time in Africa. And, they say that like memory, it's a constructed concept. No, it's not what really happened, but what you think it happened. No, and it evolves. But true, I mean, Africa was a punch, no, in my face. It was something that, it scared me because it's very extreme in many senses, no, and you come from order and
Mm.
structure, and it's completely rhythmic and chaotic from where you come from. And yes, and then remembering, no, with as time goes by, remembering, connecting things, you recreate ideas, no, and when you try to explain these things that are very sensational, no, that they're very some that comes from inside, and they're difficult to express, and even more in a language that is not yours. You get into the field of philosophy in a way, no, an abstract world. But yeah, I mean, the laughter thing, I don't remember having mentioned it, but it's true. I mean, when something is real, no, laughter appears, and in a way, innocence, no, innocence, that happiness, real happiness, not things that are tainted by by too much thinking. Yeah, things that come from inside, and that and when you talk about fire, and it's the elements. No, I don't know. I probably this should make sense when you read a lot, and probably all these things have been spoken about for centuries. But when you have your process and you listen to yourself, you see things happen, and probably they can be explained from a psychological point of view, and even there's theories probably about all these feelings, but it's true.
Yeah.
And the more it comes, the more time happen. I mean, I always tell in the last 3-4 years, I say I try to think less and feel more. And that's something that, let's say, Africa, these communities have helped me in the process. Yeah, it's something I was not looking for it, but
Uh,
I've yeah, sorry.
Sorry, yeah, I didn't want to interrupt there, but I didn't want to lose it too because you and I have
Yeah, yeah,
spoken a few times, and dude, you
mm,
you you punch me in the face with a lot of things, and sometimes I have to interrupt you because I want to understand more of something that you said in your stream of thoughts. But one of them is the laughter, because you had me thinking as you were waxing philosophically a little bit about laughter. I was just thinking yesterday. I was watching a series, My Brilliant Friend. Anyway, without going into the details, but there was a scene in one of the episodes about how the protagonist, she was going through like a painful period in the moment, and she was laughing. And the person she was with thought that she was mocking him. And she says, "This is so absurd. This is why I'm laughing, because it's just so absurd." And it got me thinking immediately while you were explaining, living in chaos, living in the rhythm. It's like when I find myself laughing, I laugh in two ways. These are my thoughts. I laugh in two ways. Like when somebody actually says something that's funny and shocking to me, so a stand-up comedian or whatever, you're in a conversation, or when I'm in pain, like I'm in a physical pain. It's like
mm,
it's a ridiculous pain, and I just start laughing, not because it's funny, but it's like an internal reaction to the absurdity of the situation. And
yeah,
I can see when you are living a life that seems chaotic but fluid. It's humorous in a way, right? Because it's so real
yeah,
to you. It's so like the reality is so punch in the face. I don't know how to use that
mm,
word. It
yeah, yeah.
cannot not be funny.
Yes,
I don't know.
no, a lot of things. No, a lot of things. But yeah, yeah, it's like lately I've also shared with people I have confianza, no, like confidence,
Mm.
like that I'm close to them. That I understand more the bums, no, and beggars that live in bank offices, no, that when they close them at night, people get inside or
Yeah,
in tunnels. Look at them. No, maybe when some time ago I would say, "Oh, poor people," or I would move from this side of the street to the other because maybe he's drunk, or and more I understand these people that some are crazy, you know. Who's crazy? What's crazy? No, but like a laughter that is not a reaction to a joke or a funny moment. I mean, from the outside, no, in our society, it's considered someone that is unbalanced, no, in a way that estás loco, no. But yeah, I mean, it happened. I mean, it's something I would not relate to. I was more talking about what I saw in these communities, that pure laughter. But the other day when I was coming back from Barcelona in the car, I was crying and laughing at the same time, listening to Ennio Morricone,
Huh.
another. Yeah, listening to the mission, no, the music of that has it always touched my heart. And I was driving; it's a long drive; it's around 6 hours, crossing Aragon, Navarra until you
Beautiful.
get to Sebastian. Yeah, yeah, beautiful. But like, yeah, now there's a lot of factories and windmills.
Not so
But yeah,
beautiful.
it's no, no, but it's nice from the Mediterranean to the Pyrenees. It has, yeah, it's epic.
Hmm.
But I put Ennio Morricone, no, La Missione, no, and this, no, Gabriel's Oboe, no,
Hmm.
and I started, and I was crying and laughing because I came from a divorce and I had seen my son and I had a lot of things inside, and normally I don't express them at that moment. No, it takes time, and I let it go. But there was this ignition that was Ennio's with Ennio's help, and but I had this effect, and that was 2 years ago when I came back from. But it's something I would say it has never happened to me. But the other day was in pain, but I was laughing, and are you happy or are you sad? Je ne sais pas. I didn't know right at that moment. I was just feeling a lot of things that at that moment. It was therapeutical. I don't really know. Probably yes. Probably yes.
Why can't
But
that be
it
a
was
new emotion? Why can't that be a new emotion?
Yeah. But I mean, it's interesting that you tell me this, no, that you sometimes, because this is a chat, no, but I can see you, I see your face, and I have had some ethnographic descriptions about you and your Serbian tall wife dressed in black. No, perdón, scusi. No, but you have a face that I can imagine you perfectly. Like, say, and people looking, probably it happens when you're alone or with people very close to you, very, very close, or probably alone. But I see people might say, oh my God, oh, merda. It's like, because you have this very powerful face, very straight, no, with this, these jaws, and you like laughing. Wow, it has to be a powerful moment. I can imagine this happening to you.
Hmm.
But it happened to me 2 days ago that I was. Uh, but going back to this new feeling, okay, yes, like new genders, new things, new things. Yeah, one. I mean, it's the mystery of life. It's a mystery of life of what do we feel. I mean, it's my trip. No, people say, "Oh, where have you been?" No, you were asking me about my last trip to Iraq, but my trip in the last 6 years has been an inside trip, of course, an inside trip. I mean, I think that at a certain point of one's life, I mean, there's the outside world that it's very interesting, and we want to live it until the end. But a big trip is the one going deep inside and yes. That's yeah. I haven't started therapy because it's for gays. A man going to the psychology. You're Italian, you know what I'm talking about.
No clue, but go on, please.
Okay, now you're je ne sais pas. No, no
I
conosco.
don't know.
Uh, no, but my father always said it was for weak people, no,
Hmm.
telling your problems. And I had this difficult relationship. I mean, I didn't know how to love my son when he was very young, when he was a baby, and I went with a client who was a psychologist, a female client, and we did 3 4 sessions, and what appeared was a sense of wasting my life, having a feeling of that I had wasted the last 20 years of my life satisfying other people instead of living life and being conscious. Yes. But
Hmm.
so it's still there. And I know it's not something I left aside, but it's something I come back to. So at the end, all the trips, they're very inspiring and meeting all these cultures. And I really love designing itineraries and writing about these communities. But it's the emotional area that it's the big subject. And going back to the thing you mentioned, that apparently I mentioned about the laughter, the pure laughter, the natural, um, it's when you meet other people, basically. No, it's what you do in your podcast. No, it's always it's very magic. It's very magic. Uh, Listening, understanding, getting inspired, but at the same time learning things about yourself. That
Hmm.
I think is the selfish and more interesting part, because. I have a lot of pleasure meeting this community. I mean, people from these communities, individuals, but then the community as a whole. I mean, today, Friday, I have spoken with two very interesting guys. One from Papua New Guinea called Pascal, guy who's in his between 50 and 70. One would never know his age. He has these Cro-Magnon features. As a good fascist anthropologist that I am. No, I'm joking. I look at the features, no, the phenotype.
Mhm.
No, it talks a lot about it's your presentation card. No, that of course culture is something abstract, no, inside. But yeah. Show me show me how you shake it, how you move it. Yeah,
Nice.
this tells a lot about. I mean, physic and psychic at the end they mingle and they. I mean, yeah. So I was talking to these guys, and then Agustin from Equatorial Guinea, two Guineas, but not connected at all. It connected by by the Spaniards,
Hmm.
by the Spaniards and the Portuguese that were the first Europeans to explore the world, no, in the 15th century, and Guinea. And this is just to show that I have read in my life a little bit. It's Guinea. Guinea. You have how many
Hmm.
Guineas do we have?
I only know of
Actually,
two, one in Africa and one in the Pacific. There's
no.
more.
In Africa, we have three, my dear. We have
Oh.
Equatorial Guinea, a former Portuguese then Spanish colony. It's the less visited country in Africa. All these shitty statistics that appear in Instagram. I think it's not called Instagram no anymore. Or X, no, probably.
Oh,
I don't know.
Twitter. You're
I'm
talking
not.
about Twitter, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the less visited country in Africa. Really? Okay, but yeah, it's not very visited. Guinea Equatorial, Equatorial Guinea. Then you have the former Portuguese Guinea, is Guinea-Bissau, yeah, in south of Senegal, and then south of Guinea-Bissau is Guinea-Conakry, that is the French Guinea. Yeah, it's the first country to become independent from French rule in the late 50s. And then we have the Papua New Guinea, as you said. Yeah, so there's four Guineas. And Guinea, the word Guinea, I learned this not too long ago. I mean, there was Guineas, no? There was a currency, no? I think in England,
Hmm.
Guineas. It is. But it comes from, it's a deformation of the word Djenné. I don't know if you heard of Djenné. It's a mud city in Mali. There's the biggest mud construction, adobe construction in the world. It's a big mosque. It's a UNESCO site.
Hmm.
So it's amazing. It's a big mud mosque. And Djenné was like near Timbuktu, that it was one of these trading cities in the Sahara. The gold from the Mediterranean moved to the Gulf of Guinea and upwards. It was a trading city, like Singapore
Hmm.
or Toronto or whatever. No hubs, commercial hubs there, and yeah, and Guinea became Guinea. Well, that's
Well, didn't know
just
this.
a little tip for travel lovers and geography lovers. It's a curiosity. Yeah, so I was talking to these guys today, and I had so much internal fun. It's amazing to build up relationship with these people, and as I think I mentioned you, or I tell everyone because it's easy. When I give some speech about my business in Africa or in different parts of the world, that it's not related to um, culture and traveling. I always say, and I wanna learn, I wanna have fun, and I wanna make money.
Hmm.
Yes, and this is what I've been talking to these people. Yeah, one understood it better than the other, but we're getting there, and it's marvelous the building of these business relationships that have a lot to do with cultural revivals, because all these people. But yeah, sorry, I'm going into a lot of things, but yeah, you cut me and you
No,
bring back. Mhm.
no, 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 not at all, not at all.
Abbiamo
I want to go
problemi.
back on one note to spring forward to a question I had with you, so or I have for you. You also said, going back, that in Cameroon, you said we were talking about Cameroon at the time, and you said the world starts here. I'm talking about Cameroon.
You like
Um,
this il titolare, no?
well,
The world starts. Maybe that day I was inspired that I told you these things, but yeah, okay. The world starts here. I, I will tell you something. My wife hates. I always say when I start talking, I'm getting lost in my talks.
yes.
Say I'm an urban poet. No, I like to I mean, English is not my first language, as you know, it's my third or fourth. So I don't control the language. I understand what you say, but most of your expressions, I had never heard them. No,
Yeah, but what I find is that
in
you
the
swim in
water.
it. You swim
I
in the
swim in
language.
the language.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I swim in. I like to use this metaphor of plunging into a swimming pool without knowing if there's water or if
Hmm.
there's no water. Plunging into a culture. I like this concept because, and I always tell the people that travel with us to let's plunge into it, let it get into, because it has to be liquid. It has to be, like something that like smooth, no? Because if it's no, yeah, it's like sex without the previous, not the preliminary issues, no, that make it more, maybe in Canada you cannot talk about these things. No,
No,
I'm joking.
we can talk about anything.
Puritan kind of Alberta. No,
Ah,
I was sorry. No, now all your like listeners from no, but I like to provoke a little bit
sure,
unconsciously, yeah,
sure.
but it's nothing.
Well,
But yeah, no, no. Well, what did I say? That everything starts in Cameroon. What? Sorry.
well, so let's fast forward to last month. Uh, you went to two particular countries. In fact, you had to cancel our recording the last time because you said I'm leaving for Afghanistan. So why don't we talk
Yeah.
after I come back? And so you just came back from
No,
Afghanistan and
I know,
Iraq.
but I mean to say I don't
Why?
mind. But I don't remember in what context I said this phrase of everything starts in Cameroon. Or maybe my connection to Africa started in Cameroon, or in a way, I mean, of course, the Gulf of Guinea, Africa, humanity, the Homo sapiens evolved from Africa. But probably
Hmm.
I was not trying to talk about this. But get me back into the path
Well,
of
the path I was asking is Afghanistan. Why? Why'd you go to Afghanistan?
Afghanistan. Well, it's mainly curiosity. But the truth is, I mean, my wife has had a lot of influence. I've always presented myself as an Africanist. Yeah, I did my thesis on some tribe in northern Cameroon. My businesses related to tourism, and the books I've written mainly are about Africa and African ethnic groups. And my wife Edith, she's into Central Asia. No, she loves the big spaces, the monasteries in the Himalayas,
Hmm.
and people with the Mongolian phenotype. Yeah, this type of like upper cheeks, and she likes these people. No, I'm not her type. Let's know, but she likes to. She loves these type of atmospheres. Okay, and she said, Let's Afghanistan. The Taliban are back. The Americans are out. Let's try it." That was 2022 winter. And wow, and it was we got the visa, and we were maybe of course an American friend of mine had been there with a lot of problems, but said, wow, it's good, it's worth it, and it's possible. And we went, and it was amazing. And then I it's something that it's I don't know the word in English, but recurrente. It happens um, again
Recurrently.
and again.
Yeah, recurrently.
Uh, Recurrent
Recurrently, yeah.
or currently, that I fall in love with places and with people, but more with places. It's less risky. um,
Well, did you
it's
go
much
as an
more.
anthropologist? Sorry, did you go as an anthropologist or as a tourist?
I'm always going to everywhere as an anthropologist. Is
Hmm.
my, I mean, anthropologist, anthropos person. No, the study of the human being. That is something that I look at people. I love observing people, and more observing and interpreting. And of course, then you can some people you talk to, and but that is my drive in life. So and anthropology allows you to contextualize things. I always say, let's put in context. No, what is happening, and I want to know, and that allows when you want to. No, we're talking about your kid with his drums. and then stopping drumming. Why? Because he has stopped having thirst and hunger of going there. No, we cannot force things. So I'm always hungry of knowledge. That is my curse and my gift. Yeah, because I want to
Got it.
understand what is going on. What is this Italian doing in Toronto? You're in Toronto, or
Yes.
what
Yeah.
is it?
Correct.
Sorry. Maybe you didn't want to disclose your.
No. No. Toronto.
What
No.
was
No.
the street
Toronto.
you're? I'm joking.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm interested. Come on, someone. Who are you? And that you came through Lars Krutak. That it's another mysterious guy, Lars Krutak, with his tattoos and his always smiling face. No, these people that have this grin in the face, like, yeah, I want to understand.
Yeah.
Now I'm more relaxed as time goes by, but I've always wanted, and I have some tools because I've met a lot of people, no, because of my work, no, as a teacher, the alumni, and then also as a publisher, the writers, and as a tour guide, no, the customers coming to our trips, our
Hmm.
anthropological trips. You develop a analytical gaze, no,
Hmm.
and you see a lot of things, and then you see that there's things that repeat, even if people have nothing to do. So I don't know you, but just things, how you express, and how the way you look, the way you dress, and things, it connects me to other people that I've known that might be similar to you in different parts of the world, no? And even in the very different cultures. And yeah, it's
We're not so
very,
unique, is what you're saying.
yeah, well, it could.
Yeah, that's-
We're unique, and also, but there's things that repeat, no, surprisingly, and
yeah.
there's
Yeah. Sure.
well, yeah, it's the big question of anthropology: nature or nurture. Yes, it's if you will learn things or they're genetic, and probably it's both. But what was more percentage? That
Hmm.
is the big. It's the el cul-de-sac. No, it's the end question. No, where anthropology has no answers, and then let's say the turn is for let's say more philosophy, no, because you get into uh thick waters, yeah, and but I think it's interesting, and sometimes there's no answer, and most of the time there's no answer, but it's interesting, it's very interesting. Mm.
Well, what has you ask questions? So speaking of not having an answer, what keeps you asking questions about Brazil? Because you said you have a lot of work in Brazil. You have a partner there, and then we went into talking about lost tribes or tribes that have had very little contact. What
Yeah.
are the questions there that you
Yeah,
have?
Brazil, it's always things that are by chance. I mean, I met a friend in Barcelona some days ago, and he was the one that told me I'm a window opener. No, I'm always, ooh. Then there's one why say then you have to close it. No, but I'm a window opener. Okay, I think I agree in this. And Brazil was not in my plans. Yes, it was not in the plans. Brazil is big. I had known Brazil. My ex-wife from Uruguay. We had been many times to Salvador, Sao Paulo, Salvador, what the coastal, and Amazon. I was lazy about Amazon. Oh, how boring! Uh, people going to watch pink dolphins, and then Eco Lodge. Oh no, ça c'est pas pour moi. That's not a place for. I mean, I want roughness. That is too maracas. Oh no, boring, big, and even dangerous. No. But then a German customer, Marcus Maute, showed me in his iPhone a photograph of some tribal group in the state of Maranhão, in not far from the coast. No, it's an extreme part of the Amazon. And I said, "Oh, it's possible to meet these people that are still naked." I said, well, that was some years ago, and but who took you there? Because you are useless. You're just German robot. You don't have, you need like a battery to, no, like Robocop. And he told me about Marco. And Marco is a new friend in my life, no, a guy who's in his 60s, a former military, um, that had a stroke like 3 years ago. But he's like a Renaissance guy, you know. He was a military in his youth, then he studied biology. He became specialized in fruit cracking fish in the Amazon. I like to say this word. No, like, it's not easy to pronounce in English. Fruit. Now I get to
Fruit cracking.
fruit cracking. Fruit cracking.
No, you did well.
And then you imagine like a fish cracking, like I don't
Amazing.
know. Yeah. But spitting, no, they crack and they spit. And thanks to the spitting, the Amazon is there. Yeah. And well, he discovered species. And he's someone, he looks like he has the same face as Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he's short. Not that Arnold is very tall, but he's quite short. He's shorter than me, and I'm Mediterranean. No, I'm not very tall. So, but well, that is an anecdote. The thing is that we became, I mean, not friends, but we started collaborating. And I said, I want to go there. And we planned a trip to the Awawaja, no, a tribe that had been contacted by the Brazilian society in the 90s. And some groups have decided to remain inside the forest naked and not following any church and any supermarket and any tracksuit, anything. Yeah, they prefer to hunt monkeys and to gather fruits and to, and rest and lay on the floor the rest of the day with their dogs and scratching their buttocks or whatever. And I said, does me have access to these people? Well, eh, so maybe yes, maybe not, maybe yes, maybe not. And I said, but there's the FUNAI, the Fundação Nacional do Índio, the Indian agency, for Indian affairs. Yeah, that controls the border between Canada and the United States, the human trafficking and all this, scary. There's always movies and things about this, no? What is going? What the hell? So I said, well, what is going on in Brazil? He said, I have contacts. Okay, and we tried and we planned. And I said to some people, you want to join this adventure? I don't know what's going to happen. And we joined and we paid, and suddenly it was canceled because there was some thing going on that you never know what is going on. But there was, we could not have access to the contacted AWA that would take us to the uncontacted AWA. So it was, yes, you're invited, Jeff Bezos, you're inviting me to go to the moon with you, and maybe we can see the Earth from the moon and then see that and it was surrealistic, that so many things in my life. But so I'm used to surrealism. In fact, surrealism is what's normal in my life in a way. Now I'm getting a bit crazy. Yeah? You have to bring me back to the light.
Not my job.
Yeah, I mean, you went there, so you're an adult. You have no. Okay, no. Going back to Brazil, because you suddenly. I was talking about Cameroon and my grandmother. Suddenly, you come into with Brazil. Shit. Okay. So the thing is that it was, and some people had paid a lot of money to go and to accompany me and Marco to see these people or try to see them, because we always say maybe baby, because. That's the contacted have to say wah 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 and leave some things on the floor, and the others might say and suddenly the approach. And this I've seen it in the Green Emerald, no, these films we saw in the 80s when we were teenagers, like or that, no, like the Yanomami, all these things of the Amazon, people getting kidnapped and when they're kids, and then suddenly, all these things we saw in our with the Goonies, no, all these things we saw when we were kids.
Great movie.
Then I'm yeah, I was very open, but I had the responsibility of having some budget, some money that had already been sent to Brazil. some people very open-minded and say, no problem, we understand the situation. But yeah, we've sent a lot of money and now it's cancelled. So we had to have a plan B. And hallelujah, no, always plan Bs bring good things. That is my experience in
Mm.
life. Bad news, good news, good news, bad news. No, mala suerte, buena suerte. Good luck, bad luck, good luck. So suddenly we were exploring an area that he had been in the like 10 or 15 years ago looking for fruit cracking fish. And we suddenly met the tribe of Sting. You know Sting, the British
Yeah.
rocker,
Mhm.
Roxanne. Yes. So this guy was with Raoni, the tribe of the Kayapo. The Kayapo, the men have a lower lip piercing. Now there's only a few old men left with a lower lip piercing, big plate on the lower lip. So suddenly I was in this tribe, and it was great. It was great, my dear. It was great, really. It was
In what sense?
wow. Because the first when I was young, no, when I was a child, I saw Dancing with Wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I told you about that. I mean, it was my favorite film with the Goonies, together with the Goonies. And I was that is the perfect film for me. No, the Indians were the good guys. There were some bad guys, and then and they were funny, and they spoke in Oglagla. Agadakatung, wow, I'm a Catalan speaker. Wow. For the first time, well, that's what they said. The promotion, no, it's the first time, but the girlfriend of Kevin Costner was a white. That it was, but well,
Disappointed.
yeah, yeah, and the horrible, the 10th of Cavalry bastard. It was a very good film, and I have the soundtrack of the movie in my car. I listen it from only the first song, eh?
Is
But
it when you drive in the Pyrenees? You listen to it? Yeah.
yes, yes, I listen. I have a couple of, I have some songs with no voice. Ennio Morricone. I have the song of Out of Africa.
Mm.
But yeah, yeah, these movies put my goosebumps on in my skin. Yes, and I sometimes I cry with big effort. Big effort.
If you focus
Uh,
enough. Well, I don't want.
yeah, yeah, I
I
have
don't
to
want you.
be.
I
I
don't.
go.
Sorry, I don't want you to miss this
Sorry.
because you were telling me that there was a tribe that you were studying or working with in Brazil,
Yeah.
and you said now there's Starlink. You remember telling me this?
Yes, yes. When first, I mean, in 2024, we couldn't go to the Awa and we went to the Kayapo, and it was great because they reminded me of the Native Americans that I had loved since I was a kid. No, this dancing, oh, hey, oh, yeah, this thing. And because they were people, they weren't isolated. They had been in contact since the 60s when
Mm.
the miners came into the area, and so they were in transition. Yeah, this it's the type of peoples I feel more comfortable when I see when I know there's people that are very pristine, very pure. I feel so sorry for them because I know that the they will come sooner or later.
Mm.
The bad guys, yes, and that really makes makes me suffer. Yeah, when I see a fallen tree. So going to this Starling tribe that you then Marco, this my partner in my best mate in Brazil, has a farm in the Amazon, northern Amazon. All these other tribes that I've mentioned previously, the Awa, the Kayapo, they live in the southern part of the Amazon. That you have what in Brazil they call cerrado, the closed
Yeah.
type of forest. It's dense, short, not beautiful, less protected because it's less beautiful. Everyone is concentrated in the nice, big trees of central northern Amazon. So he has a farm that belonged to his father, his late father, at the entrance of the Jabari River Valley. This place is now a protected area. It's called now indigenous land. Yeah, it's the size of Austria, so it's quite big. It's one of the biggest Indian or native reservations in America.
Mm.
And it's what it makes it more special and most inspiring. It's that it's the area in the world where you have more groups, human groups that have never or have had very little contact with the outside world. By outside world means um, plastic and white people, who is white, who is whatever, but with the global world. And most of these groups, that
Mhm.
maybe they're little groups of 100 or even less people. There's around 5 groups in this valley that have never had or very little contact. By very little, we might mean that maybe 100 years ago, part of the tribe was attacked by uh, farmers
Harvesters,
encroaching into the area.
miners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
harvesters. Yeah. Well, people like colonizers that came to the area and they started
Yeah.
shooting the tribe. Then the survivors left scared to death and left and forgot. And they have this idea of the outside world is not good for us. Let's move inside deeper and deeper and deeper. So that is a big part of the Amazon in the border with Peru, Brazil, Peru. And he has a farm just at the entrance of this indigenous land. Within the indigenous land, there's groups that were contacted because of different reasons. Some of them because there's encroachments into the indigenous. There's soldiers and there's this Indian office called Funai, but it's so big, it's so underfinanced. Yeah, it's so
Yep.
underfinanced that there's encroachment. There's people that go into this region to hunt, like it happened in the country where you live in Canada. No, the trappers, no, the fur trappers, and they don't care about the Indians, but suddenly they're hunting. I don't know what's the name of this animal. Not that
Buffalo,
it's
beavers.
no beavers.
Yeah, the
Beavers, yeah.
beavers.
In Spanish,
Yeah,
castore.
yeah,
But well,
Castore.
castore. So yeah, and then they find the tribe, and then they have interaction with the tribe, and the tribe gets all this sickness from the outside world. And they are wiped, or the tribe says, "No, the beavers belong to me. I need them to cover my child with beaver skin." And I know, but I am selling the beaver skin because I also have a child in downtown, whatever, um, Brooklyn, wherever.
Hmm.
And then they're shooting, and there's killing, human encounters. That area is the last frontier, my dear. Oh, wow, wow, wow. That's a place of, because around the farm, there's all the people that have been expelled that they are not considered Native Americans. And they say, oh, El Sol, that's the area. And they say, come on, we were born in the river. So that's again, oh, we have this idea, oh, let's protect the Indians, let's protect the woods, but Hakuna Matata. Let's see the big picture. Let's see the big picture. That's what I invite everyone to do. Let's not be black and whitish. Let's be open minded and understand everyone in its context and in its contradiction. No, because we're always live. So, but it's a marvelous place. First, there's no tourists.
Mm.
Meaning, what is this? I mean, we are all tourists. No, we all move around. We all have curiosity. Everyone. That's a characteristic of the mammals of all the world, and mainly the humans. No, that we have interests and curiosities and fear and thirst. But it means that when it's a theme park, basically, I'm not asking for too much. That's not asking for a place that is has been adapted to be consumed. No, that is still that. Okay, you come there and you have to adapt. Not the place it's adapted to you. No, and that it's the basics. I ask for a place. No, that it's still real.
Was
No,
it-
and yeah.
This is why I mentioned before Starlink, because you said that it's been
Yes.
there in one of those areas. It's been there since 2024, so the year and a half or whatever.
Yeah, it's been just a year. It's
And
as I say.
it has an impact.
The-
has had an impact on tribes that up until now literally have not had contact with the outside
Yes,
world.
well, I mean, from all the 18 tribes living in this big area, there's five that are still naked. That some are naked and some are wearing t-shirts. But both of these five, I mean, all of these five tribes I'm mentioning, some are the Corubo, the Flecheiros, the Cariaba. I don't remember the other two. Some have no name because they don't know what they speak. Nobody has. So that's amazing, no? In
Mm,
this global shrinking world, these peoples, some have clothes because they have contacted other tribes that have been contacted, and they get clothes and they put them on, but they don't know where they come from. What is it? They're attracted by this textile. That's all. These tribes are autonomous. They're self-sufficient tribes. That's the classification by
mm,
the Brazilian government. Povos autónomos. That how they don't depend in the outside world. Yeah.
mm,
Then there's a second category of people that live in this protected area, but that they were contacted when there was the policy of no contact. Now the policy of the Brazilian government, if a tribe doesn't want to have contact with the outside world, we respect it, and we create a buffer zone around their area. So, and we make sure nobody encroaches their land illegally
mm,
and it transmits some sickness or kills them or fucks them or whatever. So we just that's the policy, and that's a recent policy. It's for the of the last 25, 30 years. It's very recent. Prior, in the 80s, when the first immigrants from big cities came to the area looking for rubber, looking for gold, eh, poor people from big cities came there. When they found the tribes, they just shoot, because if they didn't shoot them, they would be shot or would be arrowed
mhm,
by them. No, so that was the far west. Yeah. Okay. By then, Brazil was under military rule, and they didn't give a shit about the tribes. So the policy was okay. There's a tribe. There's colonizers. Colonizers are voters. The tribes. It's an issue, but it was the 80s. Already there was a bit of sensibility and sensitivity, and so despite they were military, the policies, let's contact them and put them in a reserve, in a place that we can control them and help them because they need our help. No, there was this paternalistic approach to these communities. So we have two tribes in this region, mainly the Marubos and the Matis, that they're still deeply connected with the old ways, because when no missionaries are allowed in their territory, but the government created them a school where they learn Portuguese, and also they learn their language, at least in the primary part of the schooling, and then they have a hospital and a parabolic antenna, because always in the tribe there's a civil servant belonging to the government who takes care to make sure that the tribe is okay. Okay, that's how it is. Then you have the generation of the first contact, and today they're in some of them. You have people in their 60s and some people in their 40s. Then the youngest generation, they have already had interaction with the outside world. They've been schooled and they've gone to the hospital when they're sick. They don't go to the shaman anymore. And of course, a part of the population was wiped out because of measles and other sicknesses brought by the outside world. So they're traumatized communities
mm,
living in the two worlds. They still know how to hunt, they still practice some rituals, but they're connected. So when Starlink came into these communities that have been already in contact with the outside world for the last 40 years, okay, it's not such an aggressive thing. No, I mean they go from time to time to the town. They have mobile phones. They cannot use them in their communities, but they can use them when they get into a network area. So let's say it's not been so. I mean, this was a BBC, something from some newspaper. Wow, Starlink comes to an isolated. They're not that isolated. They're far away inside the bush. Some of them still where the nose piercing and they still hunt, but they go to hospital, they know what's the city, they know the outside world, and they're in between. That's why I say it's a second category of Aboriginal group in Brazil, no? Um, and then, but of course, Starlink came, and the youth, the teenagers, our children, they spend a lot of time watching, Senegalese dicks or some sort of programs from different countries, terror films from Saigon or from Seoul, and the whole world has less sense than before Starlink, because what's the point? No, it's not what's the point. It's confusion, confusal. There's a lot of confusion. No, but the seed of change had already been planted. That's a important point. If we want to give un titolare, or how do you call, like,
A title,
what's in
a
English?
label.
No, so no, like, oh no, the Trump comes to Canada. No, it's like, whoa, no, the big, or the deals are made. No, boom. It's like, oh, Starlink comes to, and they're not isolated. They know about the outside world, but it's true that, it's the same effect that what is happening in our society. That for the last, when we were kids, this didn't exist. Now you are in the underground or in the bus, nobody is looking at each other's eyes,
Yeah.
or reading a book. They're into their iPhone. We're all into the iPhone, but it's a different form of communication. Good, bad.
What you
Philosoph.
what you also added to me last time is that with that confusion that they're feeling doubt, and they're starting to feel shame over elements of their culture.
Yes, that is. It's been. I mean, that is something that it hurts me, because I'm really proud of being part of an ethnic minority. But I'm in the lucky side. I'm also conscious of this. I'm a man, a middle-aged man, and I can allow myself to be proud of my decaying language, and my identity. But most people are, if they say who they are or what they told them they are, they might be beaten up, or might be mocked around. So that's nothing new. But it's true that uh, you see the parents and the grandparents, they have the pride of the mountain, of, oh, we are here, we know the place, the youth, because they and the parents, they say it's a pity they don't know how to hunt or how to move fast in the bush, or they don't know the old ways, but they are the first ones promoting the study, because the seed of doubt has been planted long ago.
Right.
When the schooling system, that they say, oh, there's goods. No, there's a big issue, a big study in anthropology, the concept of goods. No, el cargo cult. No cargo. No, no. You have a company of goods coming into goods from here, from there, goods. No, and these communities, they were hunter gatherers. They had a Paleolithic economy. There was nothing to carry besides what you can carry.
Yeah.
Suddenly, there's goods coming, and this accumulation concept. No, that is also an interesting phenomena that we take for granted, but it's something that it's sort of recent in the world, but even more in these communities, that they were moving. They were moving all the time. They cannot carry a drum. Oh, they don't have drums and maracas to play their traditional songs. No, because it's heavy. It's not practical. It's not practical.
Yeah.
But now we have places, and it's also a prestige thing. Blah 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 blah. So suddenly there's this pressure. And that's how it is. But that is something that we can apply to so many places around the globe.
But I can imagine, like, this started off, the conversation started off with your grandmother's gaze on the world, and that's obviously something that it's obvious to the listener that you appreciate the fact that there are many different kinds of gazes on the world. And what we did forget to do was to talk a little bit about your travel company, but we'll put it in the show notes. But I think that I have a question from this. So your company is called The Last Places, and you have a philosophy, like a trifold philosophy that you explained to me last time about learning different cultures, wanting to publish these experiences, and having a didactic approach to it, a scientific study approach to it. My question this is so I'm mindful of the time here. So my second last question to you. Speaking then of last places, if you had no choice but to leave Spain and you could only live in one more place in the world before you die, which place would that be if that were up to you?
It's of course it's a complicated question to answer because,
Mm,
as told you, I go to a place, I understand the place. Even I could fall in love with Canada, and I know Canada can be a pain in the ass, boring like hell. No, I'm sorry. Canada is beautiful. No, but a place that it balances quite well what I like in life is Angola. Angola is a country in Southwest Africa, in north of Namibia, south of Congo. Uh, First, it's very Latino. You are Latino. I'm Latino. It's a people like to talk in Angola. They were part of the Portuguese Empire for 500 years,
mm,
so it has an impact. It's similar to South America. No, it's not like Nigeria. The British were there, but 80 years. Congo, the Belgians were there, for 100 years. But the impact is superficial. It's traumatizing, but at the end, it has not gone deep. But when you stay 500 years, it's a whole lifetime, and you feel that. So I feel comfortable. Then the weather is not bad. There's not too many mosquitoes. The food is great because it combines African style of food with the Portuguese Mediterranean type of food. And then again, what I like is to discover places. And Angola has been under a civil war. It was probably the longest civil war in the world, no, in historical terms, from 1975. First, there was the War of Independence. They became independent in 75, and the war started, the civil war that lasted until 2005. So that's
mm.
quite a long, and this makes a place that people are recovering from the trauma of war and civil wars are more dramatic than other types of war. All wars are bad, but these ones are because it's your neighbor, no, fighting against you, and you fighting against your neighbor. And you have I wrote a book 4 years ago called "Last Tribes of Angola." And with our research, because as you mentioned in our company, we try to we investigate about the people we work, and we talk to them. We just we don't just observe as classical anthropologists and describe what we see, but we get involved. We get involved. It's what was I was mentioning about this context today with this Papua New Guinean guy and this Equatorial Guinea guy, that it's people, they belong to a culture, to a tribe, but they feel ashamed because they were brought up by the nuns, by
Mm.
the Catholic nuns, and they told them your culture is shit. And then suddenly you feel like with our process, it's like a therapy. No, it's like when all these Native Americans in Canada, in Alberta, in Saskatchewan, they went in there with a bit fat and a bit like turmoil, and suddenly they start crying in a group and say, yes, we were brought up in a boarding school in New Brunswick, and the nuns, they beat us, and the priest touched my breasts or my penis. Yeah, it was like that, and it's fucking trauma. It was dramatic. And when in the process, when we start going back to the culture and people feeling proud and saying that, oh, my culture is not only my treasure, something unique. I feel proud. I feel stronger. I feel more self confident, more self. It's very emotivo. Hey,
Yeah,
I
emotional.
might, but it's a hug moment, abrazo, 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 and then they make money. That's what I always say. All these things are supported when people make a living, make a living, make a living, and they say that it's not just an internal process, but then you also have to pay your taxes, your schooling, and all your life. No, so
Sure.
it's this balance, and we're the mechanics. We're the specialist in this, and that's the balance we've created. No, of like the culture will bring tourists. Tourists want to photograph exotic things. Yeah, okay, let's make a dance, let's sing, let's talk.
Mhm.
Let's because, for example,
Good.
Equatorial Guinea is just little Kit Kat a bracket. It's like we go to meet some elders in a place called Luba, San Carlos de Luba. It's a town where uh, the British were there before the Portuguese and before the Spanish. And there's Pichinglish. It's a language called Pichinglish. Pichinglish. It's a pidgin. It's a bastard
Mhm.
language. It's a sure, but and now the people have almost forgotten it, but it's still spoken by the older generation. So we have a big conversation, and youth come there, and suddenly they see how this language attracts a conversation. It's fun. It's emotional because they remember how they played with this language, and it gives a reason for the grandchildren to at least because at the end we have to make deals of minimos. Yeah, we cannot expect the recovery of the language. The language has been there's a generation that has stopped speaking this language, but there's this feeling first of love, of pride, of fun.
Mm.
Yes, it's a very exciting, precious, and creative. So that's the good thing about this project. Yeah, yeah.
I'm so grateful that Lars put us together because this is and I say this with the utmost respect. It's
Thank you.
when you respond in questions, you are intent on wanting to make a picture for the person asking the question.
Okay.
Like
I
you
I understand you.
well, no, but it's I mention this because I feel like it's important for you to demonstrate that there is no straight, simple answer to anything, and that there's a tapestry behind everything that you see and study.
No, thank you. It's because sometimes you are used to talk and you're used to people stopping following you because I have this problem, not that I connect problem or I don't care. No?
Sure,
I'm 47. I mean, at this stage of my life, no me
it is
importa,
what
no?
it is. Yeah,
But of course, sometimes I have to transmit ideas, and you have to try to. But again, I thank you for your words, and
nice.
they help me to understand a bit, know how I express. But it's a good observation that I try. It's true, but well, as I've taught in class, and when you teach about. And again, it's true that it's I feel it's unfair to give a straight answer
Mm.
because I had to give straight answers during the divorce procedure because the lawyer said, do. And I knew I was lying because it's not exact, but I had to give an impression to the judge, yes, and be clear and not get
In the
lost, no,
painting. Yeah.
but in your in this conversation, you allow me, and I thank you for this, and that's where I feel, and I understand that some first English is not my first language. Some things are a bit complex, and I think I know people that might listen. Some things they will not understand them. They will interpret, but at the end, that is how reality
Mm.
is. I
Right.
mean, even when we are very clear, people will understand one thing. The others will the instructions, the manual of something. Uh, you told me something very. Oh, leave your browser. I've heard the word browser many times, but you have to know. You say go up there, or just don't touch anything, or just forgot what I said. But it's yeah. So true, true.
Schwan,
Yeah,
it's
same to
been a
you.
lot of fun.
Grazie.
It's been a lot of fun. Thank you. Thank you for your
Mm.
time. Thank you for your
No
time.
pleasure. You've been very polite. I mean, that's something that it's not rare nowadays, but sometimes people are in a hurry, and people don't have the will to understand. So you're very, I felt kindness from your part and support and
That's nice.
will to understand me. So, and as I told you in one of the informal conversations, when they've all been formal, informal, we've danced, no, we've
Yeah.
danced, but again, I extend my hand to you because you're a nice guy and you have a nice family, blah blah. But you have a house here in Spain where you will come to visit us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And but it would be nice sometimes, peut-être, to join me in one of these experiences. Like as I said, Brazil is not that far from Canada. It's just moving a bit
It's only
southward.
10 hours.
Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. But no, I mean to come for 10 days, or you have to do some businesses in Rio de Janeiro, and come. I mean, you have my contact.
Thank you.
It would be, but you say, look, oh, Juan, I don't want to miss this opportunity, this thing that you present me, but let's talk for 2027, 2080. I will be there. I'm there, no? So maybe you come with your wife, you come with a friend, you come alone or with your kids.
That's awesome.
I would, why not, no? We already know a bit each other, and I like to share what I love, yeah? So
Thank you. Thank you. Very,
no
very
problem.
kind. I'll take you up on that.